Aloha, friends. Let's welcome the lovely Darshanie, creator of the lovely Om Tarot.
Thank
Welcome.
you so much.
Let's say some hellos. First one in was Roman Biscotti. Hi, Tangi. Marcus, is that your Marcus?
Yes, my Marcus.
Yeah. Hi, Marcus. Aloha, Matthias, and Patrice. Lovely Patrice. Hello. And Kylie's. Oh, Chris of Elemental Cartomancy, aloha. Andy the Wallflower, hello. So I don't know how many of you backed the Kickstarter of the lovely Om Tarot, but it came not only in a lovely box, but with a lovely bag. I love those that you gave out. Oh, hi, Deanne, Blue Crescent Tarot, and Gerald of Tarot Stash, aloha and howdy. Rose and Creed, hello. They're just going to start pouring in at this point. So we're going to try and say hi to everybody. If I miss you, I apologize. There's so much to talk about with these cards. They're so gorgeous.
You have such a warm audience. Wow.
Oh, yes. They really love getting to see a deck from the creator's point of view. And that's really why I do these interviews, is just to like really get to know the deck on a level that we wouldn't get to otherwise, right? Getting to know it from your point of view is way different than just picking up the box, opening the deck and going, oh, these are pretty. Oh, let's look at the head book. Okay. Now we get to actually ask you questions, or like, you know, pull up the deck or pull up the thing. Like, but this is one of the cards I pulled aside. Like, I love that there's a lot of Hindu gods, but then we also got Pan in the mix here. So a lot of divinities came through. Yep.
A lot. Yeah.
Aloha, Regina. It's going to be quite a few more popping in, I'm sure. Oh, I don't even know where to start here.
Yeah.
So how about we start with what inspired you to create the deck, and like the process you went through in order to create it.
Yes. Well, wow. Yeah. I mean, I've been a fan of the tarot for so long, and it's been a very important part of my exploration. It really helped me to integrate my life, like my experiences, because I've always been so like intuitive, and but growing up with it, not understanding how to deal with it. So it means like you're picking up on things, you don't know how to sort them out, how to like match them up with reality. And so the tarot really, really helped me to ground my intuition, to like sort out what I was picking up. And then at the same time, I have a very strong background with yoga and the Hindu gods because I'm Indian, and also I grew up in an ashram. So I, sorting through my experiences through the tarot was really helpful. But then I naturally associated them with various gods, and I mean, the various gods were always part of my my psyche, so they naturally went into the tarot. And I love art, and I just at one point I just did a painting of the moon card the way I would see it, and that was just a wonderful experience. And then I also imagined Saraswati as the high priestess a long time ago. And I just like, as fun, I just painted and the cards the way I thought they would be. I just did like maybe 3 cards that way. And then years later, I got the inspiration, like I say in my introduction video. It was in meditation one winter evening, and I just was meditating on the candle, and I saw all of these fractals expanding from the candle, and I had an experience with that, and I also experienced that as the Ace of Wands, and it was just like that impulse
to pull that out too.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was my impulse. And in the beginning, I didn't think I would include the gods in it.
But they had other ideas.
Yes, yes, they did. And Lord Shiva was the first one to appear. Yes. Yeah, that's capturing that vision I had. Yeah.
So the one that really jumped out at me the first time I was looking through the deck was actually, well, the Hierophants, of course.
Yeah.
Because I also had I didn't grow up in the ashram, but I went to school there, right? I was a townie. I didn't live there, but I pretty much spent every day there.
Amazing.
And it really was an introduction to yoga and the Hindu gods, and Ganesh became a very important part of my life. So to see Ganesh as the Hierophant was just so fitting for me. It just, yeah, it was one of my favorite cards of the deck, actually.
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah.
And I love how you incorporated the main symbols of like the 5 main religions in the world as part of it. They're all coming from his hand. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a beautiful card. Here, I have to look at it while I'm speaking about it. So that's, yeah. So that's Ganesha. He's like the guardian. He's like the remover of obstacles, and so I have him as a Hierophant because really God is everywhere, but I know this sounds funny, but we almost need like a door so that we don't have too much of God in our lives, because really God is the truth. It's things as they are, and that can shatter our reality. And so we kind of need like a doorway that allows us just enough so that we can still live our lives. And so Ganesha is like that doorway. He's like the psychic seal just below the Muladhara, the first chakra, and he separates like the psychic forces that are too powerful for us to handle. And he just allows what we're able to handle to come through when we're ready for it. And so that opens our reality slowly so that we don't go nuts.
Right.
And so that's like, yeah. So he's like the doorway, and he's also like the bridge to the spiritual realms. And I have the various main, I mean, there's so many religious systems, but I just chose like some of the main ones that I felt were good for this, because these systems, they kind of prepare the mind and the emotions and the, it prepares you for the spiritual reality. So the religions are also like a doorway that lead you then to the spiritual realm where Ganesha resides. And it's also like the thought that the paths are many, but the truth is one, sort of. Yeah.
That's exactly how I approach spirituality.
Yeah.
I try and study as many religions as I can because I know all of them have a grain of truth.
Yes. Yes. And they're really just pathways to that spiritual reality where you can then have like a personal relationship with the, with, existence as you see it.
Well, and you're talking about the gateway made me think of the Fool card, because that is what we see here, is the Fool stepping through the gateway.
Yes. This was actually my second card that I painted. And this is like the soul coming in from the vastness, from the realm of stars, of soul, and stepping into this earthly plane. And he has,
we have the sprout.
Like, yeah, he has like these little points of light, which are like his soul family. And as he steps in, there's like this ribbon of energy, this explosion of energy, like the sunrise. It's like a celebration that new awareness is here on the earth plane. It's ready to have an adventure.
And the fresh sprout growing.
Yes. The seed is awakened, and let's see what happens.
Let's see what it grows into.
Yeah.
I love that. I have so many here. So since we started at the beginning right there, let's jump to the end. At the after. The aeon.
Shiva.
Shiva. Mhm.
Yes. Well, we have Shiva as the Knight of Discs, as the consciousness inside everything, or that's holding everything in his consciousness. And here we have Lord Shiva in the form of Nataraj, which is the cosmic dancer who pulls everything back into himself. And so this also means like the end of a cycle, because this process of disillusionment, it takes place on many levels. So yeah, these are the souls. These are the souls after death. They're releasing, they're letting go of the astral body, and then they're moving up to various lokas or various astral planes, wherever they belong, wherever they resonate with. And that's the process of dissolution. And Shiva is in charge of that. He's a return to nirvana, correct? Well, maybe. Every soul has a different journey that it takes. Some souls, they come from different planes. You know, they're born from different levels of Godhead. And they, you know, you try to make that return journey. And Lord Shiva, he helps you to go as far into that journey as possible. Because in the end, if you're able to really go through that journey, you end up at the soul level. If you're able to resolve the patterns in the astral body, then the astral body can fall off. And then you go to a deeper level, which is like the individual self, the jiva, and their rest in an astral plane that, or an astral reality. You know, Christians call that heaven, or, you know, there are also lower lokas, like, you know, there's so many millions and millions of lokas, astral planes that the soul goes to. And if you're able to go beyond that, then you go to your soul. So speaking of, let's look at the death card then. Oh, gosh, we're getting deep today. Oh. The death. I'm always deep. Always deep. Winter is a time of death. So this is Lord Yama. I had a dream. Actually, I had a few dreams of Lord Yama. And he came to me in this form, in this dark purple robe. And he didn't have a face, but I was able to see in him like the deepest purple possible. And like this geometry, like this web of geometry, lines and points within him. And it was so beautiful. It was really a wonderful experience. And when I saw him in my dream, I felt this amazing vastness and rest, silence, peace. And through that, I was able to then face the energy of death. From that dream, I had the courage to like look at death. And so he gave me some perspectives, like some visions. And we have here the Astral River. If you see like right in front, you have like this Astral River with people, the bodies, or actually the astral body flowing down it. And this river, it helps to dissolve the astral body. And you need to do that. The astral body contains like a lot of the emotional experiences. They have to be kind of resolved. And after that, the astral body dissolves. And we also have the earth there with the volcanoes. The earth helps to dissolve a lot of the physical memories. And then the earth also has like lots of demons and, you know, what the Christian religion calls hell beings. But they're actually part of the Earth system. They're part of the they're the beings in Earth that help you to process all of those traumatic emotions.
Right.
Yeah, so
I've had
you
people
have them
ask
there in the
about
background helping. The
I've had
flower,
people ask about the flower. Mm-hmm.
yes, that's the Datura flower. It's sacred to Lord Shiva, who is also, whose consciousness spans all these various realities. The Datura it's psychedelic. It's also very poisonous if you take too much. And that's just like when you die, you want to be able to bring your awareness into the death state, because then you can be very active on that level. And that's like the Datura. If you just take a little bit, then you can, well, I've never taken it, but you hallucinate and you're aware and you can go through something, you can process something. But if you take too much, then you go unconscious. And that's sort of like death. You want to be able to have awareness in the death state and not, I mean, for some people, death is like a sleep, but for some people, it's like an experience. And that's kind of like the wisdom in the Datura flower. If you're able to have the awareness in that frequency that wants to like, put you down,
travel.
Then you can use the death experience for something.
And then speaking of traveling, made me think of the chariot here. And usually the chariot's shown still or like unmoving, but here we actually get this like great sense of movement. And you still have the black and white steeds pulling it.
Yeah.
But then it's actually like you I don't know, I get this feeling of motion, the feeling of movement, of going from one place to another, which a lot of chariot cards don't have. So I really appreciated this image.
Thank you. Yeah, so with the chariot, you're crossing this river that's going over this huge abyss. And if you look down into the river, it's not just water, it's also the universe. There's like stars there. It's like an infinite abyss. And that kind of represents like the fears. Oh my gosh, the fears, they can be so huge. And the black and white horse, the black horse represents the feminine energy or the heart, and the white horse represents the masculine energy or the intellect and head. And this is, it's saying that both of these energies need to be utilized and harmonized towards a certain goal. And this is very hard to do, especially when you're looking down into the abyss and you're experiencing all of these fears. And the charioteer there is actually Krishna. It's not obvious, but it's Krishna.
Now I'm
yeah.
kind of zoomed in. I can see it.
Yeah. So, invoking that higher intelligence, it helps to automatically unite the heart and the mind. And with that type of backing, you can cross that narrow bridge.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Let's see, what else do I have here? I'm kind of mainly going through the majors that I pulled first. Speaking of having the strength to get across.
Yeah, it's the strength. So this is,
I believe this is Durga.
Yes, it's Durga, Mother Durga, who is the latent power within us. She tries to activate that power in you through obstacles, through difficulties. And if you're able to face those difficulties, then that inner power, it comes up as courage, as strength, and as Shakti. Shakti is that power that can do on a personal level. And then on a divine level, it's the Divine Mother. It's the force of life that's expressing itself through everything.
Well, for me, seeing that blossom just is like hearing you speak and then seeing the blossom. I find this card being all about like learning how to blossom into your own, right?
Yeah. It's a marigold. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a marigold flower, and
I was going to
that's
ask
sacred.
actually.
Yeah, and that's a flower that's very sacred to the Mother, and it also represents the third chakra. It has the colors of the third chakra. It has the brilliance, the many petals, and the fragrant smell of the third chakra. Yeah.
Very beautiful. Let's see, what other majors do I have here? Well, you're talking about the fears and everything in the chariot, and it kind of brought the image of the moon to me, actually.
Yeah.
Where these two little people are on a boat.
Oh, you saw that. Yeah.
And they're
So, wow.
imagining all these monsters under them.
Yeah. Yes. That's like that's what Ganesha protects you from. It protects you from the vastness of reality, which is like you're just a tiny speck.
Right.
And I mean, that's like a reality. Who can handle that? But here, some of that reality is opening up, and the boat is like the ego. It's like what protects you from sinking into this vast ocean. And here, this giant octopus, this universal consciousness is reaching up and threatening to just pull you under. And the fear that comes up from that is like the subconscious opening up, and that's the moon.
Mm-hmm.
The powerful forces that are out there that Ganesha protects you from. It's a spiritual reality that, we have to grow in order to handle. Yeah.
Beautiful image.
Thank you. Yeah.
Let's see, other major. I got two more majors, and then I have a handful of minors we can talk about. So I noticed that we have Pan in the Prince of Discs, but I also noticed that he's here in Justice as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love this image for Justice. Can you tell us more?
Yes. Justice. Justice has to do with natural law or the law of nature. Nature has so many various realms, and the tarot shows that in the earth, water, fire, sword, and then major arcana suits. It shows these various realms that are part of earth reality. But these realms, they don't just overlap and intermingle randomly. There's a real structure to everything. Everything has its place within the earth, within the order of nature. And through that structure, everything lives harmoniously. So for example, like the birds, they belong to the air. You don't see them underwater. Earth creatures, you see them under earth, you don't see them in the water, and fishes you don't see on land. So there's like that structure so that every realm has its creatures. And then there's also a little overlap too, because you see the overlap in the colors. Right. So the inner pentagram, let's see, wait a second. Yeah, the inner pentagram, it shows a little herd animal there. You can see like a little goat. And then for the fire, you have like the volcanoes. For the water, you have fishes and birds for the air, and then a scale, which means law and order for the intellect. So that's a physical realm expression of these 5 realms. And then in the outer pentagram, you have Pan, which is a mystical magical being. The outer pentagram shows the mystical magical realm of these elements. Right. So yeah, in the mystical magical realm of Earth, you have Pan and various other beings. And in the fire, you have this dragon. In the and then in the water realm, you have the mermaid. In the air, you have the angel. Right. And in the Akash or spirit, you just have light.
The Akashic realm.
Yeah. So this card, it shows the order within nature on the physical, and then also the psychic, mystical, magical realm. Yeah.
Shows that everything has its place, right?
Yes.
Just like justice.
Just like justice. Yes. And when everything is in balance, it's beautiful. When it's not in balance, then there's chaos and disorder.
Things spiral out of control.
Right. And Pan belongs to the earth. He's a very sacred being. And he's like within Earth's consciousness. He's like her right-hand person. But yeah, like when he's misused, then he becomes, like what we call the devil, or something like that. That's like a distorted form of Pan. His true form is that as a being, a dedicated lover, devotee, servant of Earth. And so that's why I have him as the Prince of Discs, because he understands the unconscious and the subconscious realms. That's his animal nature, his instinctive part. But then he also has a human part, and that's the intellect. So he's able to understand, to really comprehend that instinctual part. So he's able to make it something of value. Like, are we still there? I'm not sure. So I'm not sure if I'm here by myself or if Jonathan, are you still there? Okay, so I'm not sure if I'm here.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was wondering.
We just had a huge storm, so our internet's a bit spotty.
Yeah.
My internet just dropped me completely.
So Earth is telling us that she's in charge. Right? Earth is we're talking
Perfect
about
timing, right?
Yeah, we're talking about Pan, and he's messenger for Earth. He's saying, yeah, she's in charge.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah. Through her storms, she's like clearing a lot of the mental confusion, the fears, the anxieties. She's clearing that and bringing it back.
Yeah. So Sunday night, we got a year's worth of rain in one night.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Actually, about a year and a half worth of rain in one night. It was crazy. Incredible stormy. We're very lucky where we are. There's many places on island that got flooded. Some people had their house filled with mud.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then I heard that upcountry, like up on the volcano, someone's roof actually got ripped off their house.
Oh my gosh.
It's like worse than a hurricane, but it wasn't a hurricane technically. It's called a Kona low. It's these kind of storms that only pop up every 10 years or so.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
We're
Yeah.
very lucky that like nothing really happened to us. I mean, we had a bunch of palm fronds fall from our palm tree and crush half our yard, but otherwise we're okay.
Wow, that's amazing, Jonathan. Wow. Earth is so powerful.
Very.
She's
Yeah,
so powerful.
that was a good reminder.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Mm,
It's nice to know though. I mean, yeah. Wow.
it's a good reminder. And it looks like it's starting to rain again.
Mm.
But the main storm is now over Oahu and Kauai. I think Kauai is getting it right now. So, yeah.
Gosh.
All the islands
So
got
scary.
way more rain than we should have, and which is good. I mean, technically, the state of Hawaii is in a state of drought, so
Really?
hopefully this will help alleviate that quite a bit. But I mean, crazy things were happening during the storm. Apparently, some car that was parked got washed into the ocean.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
There's a section of road north of us here that's closed. I don't know if it's the main thoroughfare too, but I don't know how they're going to get it open again because the storm whipped up the ocean so furiously that it actually took a chunk of the road. The ocean
Oh
took
my
a chunk.
gosh.
The rest of it is covered in mud that came down off the mountain. So yeah, it's a bit crazy here in these days. I've been having people text. Yeah.
I pulled what Earth wants to say with that, and I got the Temperance.
That was one of the cards I had pulled and then put back, actually.
And that's so interesting because this is Ganga, and she's a celestial river that came down to Earth in order to purify the astral realms. And she is so powerful that Lord Shiva had to catch her in his locks so that she wouldn't wash the earth away. So it's showing
well,
that.
That's very fitting.
Isn't that amazing? Wow. So, Earth is trying to, she's saying that this was a purification and she didn't want to hurt anyone, but it's just how it is. Because, that energy of purification from Ganga is so powerful.
Is she riding a river dragon?
It's a crocodile.
Oh, crocodile. Okay.
A crocodile, yes. And the crocodile represents the very instinctual nature. So the astral realm is built up of all of these very instinctual, unprocessed experiences. And so that's why she's there to help clear that up so that the souls can pass on and go to a more peaceful place. So this rain, it was really to purify the energies, purify the ancestry, purify the spirit world, also the astral emotional world. And it had to come down, well, it just comes down strong because that energy is so powerful.
Right. Yeah, we lived right next to an orchard, and the orchard itself had turned into a river.
Oh my gosh.
So we literally had a river right next to us for about 12 hours.
It's so intense. The elements are so strong in Hawaii, huh?
Definitely.
Oh, wow.
And we have all of them.
Yeah. Volcanoes and wow. Must be so beautiful though.
It is. It's amazing energy. Well, they call it mana here, right? And it's the mana of the Aina. Aina is basically the islands themselves, but it's also the people that make up the islands and the ancestors that are buried in the earth here and stuff. All of that is Aina. And so what they say is the mana of the Aina is very strong and very healing.
That's so beautiful to have that connection with the earth and the ancestry.
Mm-hmm. There's certain areas that's taboo to go to because they are sacred burial grounds.
That's so nice. Yeah, that makes people very powerful when they're in touch with their ancestors through the land, or the land is imbibed with the ancestral energy.
Well, this is technically an occupied land.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So the last major I had was the Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
Just because this image is so powerful.
Yeah, it is, huh?
It's the web of the universe, right?
Yes. I mean, you could see that as a storm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I painted that while a very big storm was happening. I don't remember which one. I was in Europe at the time, and there was this big storm taking place in Florida, a hurricane. I started painting that, and then this hurricane happened, and then I got really involved in the hurricane because my family is in Florida. I
I
thought
have
then,
family in Florida
and then,
too.
and then as I was doing it, I was like, "Oh my God, this is the hurricane." um,
Hmm.
and you're talking about the storm
And all
too.
those cities getting affected by the hurricane, right?
Yeah. But then, I mean, but actually, what I was drawing was the galaxy and how it's connected to so many other galaxies.
The web of
So
light, as they call it.
yes,
Mhm.
and you might have to use your imagination, but you can also see that octopus that's in the moon card,
I
and
can see
also
that
in
now. Mhm.
and also in the high priestess. It's the octopus revealed itself as
I would have loved the High Priestess.
the neural links in the cosmos, that they're like invisible neural links from one galaxy to the other, from one star system to the next. There's like a intelligent web there in the cosmos, and the octopus
There she is.
somehow holds
Oh, yeah.
that
This is another gorgeous
type of
card.
intelligence. Yeah. So here in the high priestess, the person in the boat is not there anymore. He's allowed himself to expand his consciousness. So he's not just the individual anymore, but he's able to experience time, space, the intelligence within the DNA braids. You see the braids, the DNA
Mhm.
braids, able to go into the crystal Akashic records, into uh, the soul ancestry up in the stars. He's just able to go into the void, into the universe, and really
What did I do with the moon
have
card?
access to all dimensions.
Let me find the moon card. I want to hold them up side by side.
Yeah.
Every time I look for one card, I totally like mix everything back together again.
So
I
yeah,
usually put things in order before here it is. I usually put things in order, but needless to say, the last few days have been kind of crazy.
that's because you're present in your experience. So anyhow, let me just with this. Yeah. Okay. So we got all three cards here. So yeah, with the Wheel of Fortune, it's talking about one's karma and how you're linked to all your karma, which have to do with your previous lifetimes, that might not only be here on the earth plane, it might be in other places. And all of that has all of your experiences from this life and previous lifetimes, and all the people that you're connected to in this lifetime and past lifetimes, they all have connections to you that move you in one way or move you in the other way. And the Wheel of Fortune is number 10. It's like right in the middle of the major arcanas. And, you're pushed and pulled by fate as you're growing and learning. But once you tap into your own power, and once the Shakti, the strength card, is awakened in you, then you start having the ability to shift and change your destiny. So then the wheel starts turning in another direction. through your input, through your through your awareness. Yeah. So I mean, the Wheel of Fortune, it can be that you are swung by the wheel, or it can be that you are.
Keep talking. In. My son's asking for something.
Yeah, that you're in charge of the wheel, something like that.
Sorry, he just logged off with his class. So unfortunately, my son is stuck at home in quarantine.
Lucky for him.
Lucky for him, especially because it's rainy.
Really.
Yeah. I am not so lucky. So speaking of Earth, this was actually one of the ones I pulled out because it's like, I don't know, I feel like you've got a lot of these Hindu gods in here, but then you get Han.
Yeah.
I know that you said that he came through and wanted to be a part of the deck.
Yes.
In a video, you talking about that, and I just wanted to. I mean, what is your connection and relationship with Han?
Well, I painted this card when I was living in Germany. And we were living in the wine fields, and there just happened to be a Pan being in this wine field. We would walk there every day, and he showed up quite a few times. And I also have another painting with him under an apple tree. Mm-hmm. But he was just so delightful, and he just really helped me to tap into Earth's intelligence. And so he became the Prince of Discs, because the discs have to do with the earth element. And for us, we're living in the earth realm, but really we don't know much about it. The earth is still a big mystery. And it's the same with our bodies. Our bodies are such a huge mystery for us. This is what he was like communicating with me, is that we think we know our bodies, but really we just know the surface of it. We live on the skin of our bodies, but inside of us, within the chemical reactions, the coordination between all the various systems, and like the emotional imprinting that takes place into the body, the instincts that come up, there's just so much that's taking place on an internal level that we're totally ignorant of. It's all in darkness. So even though the body is the most tangible part of our being, we're only on the surface of it. And Pan, and that's also like an allegory for Earth. We're living under Earth, but we know so little of it. We're just on the surface.
Right.
But Pan is like sort of like a bridge, because he's tapped into Earth's huge, amazing consciousness. And he's able to make it a little understandable to us, because he's also part human. So he has that intellectual filter that, makes these things understandable, like the instinctual nature, the, different things within us understandable. So that's him. He's playing his flute, and he's connected with the tree spirits, the microbes in the earth and within our body.
Are these little fireflies?
They're little fairy beings.
Fairies, okay.
Yes. He's playing in the grove, and the fairies are dancing. And then you see the roots underground. He's aware of the subterranean realm. Yeah.
The mycel. So I realized I didn't pull out any wands, but I did the Prince of Discs, and then I have 2 cups, 2 swords. One of the first ones that really just like struck me is the 9 of Cups here. Just being like being a part of everything, right? And the body itself being the water.
Yes.
This image is just breathtaking.
Yes. This is a psychic experience. This is when you allow the intensity of the emotional reality to just flow through you. It cleanses your channels. And then instead of emotion, you're starting to feel energy flow through you. And that's when you're not resisting life anymore. You're allowing it to flow through you. And then, so when you allow things to flow through you, then you're flowing with life. And whatever you need, it just like automatically starts flowing into you. Because this is also like the wish card.
Right.
Yeah. And the wish card is when the universe is supporting you. And the universe supports you when you are flowing with it. So this is how to flow with it. It's allowing that, whatever
and I love
is
how
there.
everything is flowing towards the being.
Yeah.
Because at first I thought it was like everything was flowing out of the being, but now that I'm looking at it closely, everything's flowing into the being.
Yes. Yeah, this is a psychic experience. Mm-hmm. It feels like that, like, and it's flowing up because you're flowing with life, and it's creating this like expansive, universal, blissful experience.
And the contrast of this, like 9 of Cups, where this being is a part of all things, and I feel like this is like a great contrast, the Queen of Cups, where you're zoomed in straight into her eye.
Contrasts, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then she's got the ocean in her eye and the universe and the pupil, right?
Yes.
And I love the little detail of scales here.
She's a mermaid. Mm-hmm. And she's got the moon as her eyebrow and nose. Mm-hmm. This was such a magical card. I mean, oh my gosh. I remember when I painted it, it was raining, almost like how you were describing, not as much, but it was raining really hard in Germany. And Marcus and we had the music on and we were just dancing. I was painting this. It was a really highly emotionally charged moment that was also really joyful. And I just got it, and it's like one of those experiences where you just get it. And then after you're like, oh, wow, mm-hmm. I really love this card because, it talks about the ocean, and the ocean is the biggest emotional body on the planet. And within the ocean, you have all these creatures, all these currents, but the ocean is able to handle all of that because she doesn't look at it like individual things. It's all a whole. She's holding it. She's holding space for all of this. Mm-hmm. And as holding space for all of it, she's able to process it. It doesn't like pull her anywhere, but it's just things happening within her. Well, this card is about
part of it.
Yeah, it's about having whatever you have within your emotional body, and not being like pulled by it, or sometimes being pulled by it. It's just about feeling, going into that intense emotional states that we all have, but mm-hmm. holding it rather than being like siphoned down by it.
Right.
She carries
being the ocean instead of being smashed by the waves, right?
Yes. Like understanding you have a bigger power. You're not just these small experiences. I don't know. It's a very hard thing to describe
Some
because it's
things
an
are
experience.
really hard to put into words. I
Yeah.
understand.
But
Totally understand.
it's about the gift of tears, actually, you know. It's like from her ocean, we let ourselves feel, and then it builds up, and then it breaks as a tear. And when that happens, there's a release, and that's what she collects.
So Sadhana has a great question. I just had to go pull out the card. She wants to know, is the Queen of Discs a self-portrait?
No, actually. It's she's the companion for Lord Shiva. So she's actually a form of Parvati or Mother Earth or Prakriti, something like that. So she's just she's Mother Earth. She's the consciousness that like the pond lives in. She's the nurturing motherly awareness that brings life into matter.
As you can tell by all the fruits and veggies.
Yeah.
It looks like
she has the horns because she has the horns because you know, Earth is like Earth is what gives structure, and the bones give like if you have heavy bones, you have a lot of earth in you, and a lot of the creatures that have strong bone structure, they belong to the earth, like Ganesha, Pan, he has horns, or like the wild boar. You often see the wild boar as a vehicle for earth deities because he has the tusks. This all shows the prominence of their bone structure.
Stags with their horns too.
Yes, yes.
I love that. So the two last ones I had, totally willing to pull out any other card anyone else wants to talk about, but there's two sword cards that are always kind of like a little hard for some people.
Two sword cards? Only two?
Five of Swords.
Yeah.
This is a very different image than what we're used to seeing, where the person's like gloating over winning and clutching the swords while other people like disappear in defeat. But here, it's different.
Yeah.
So can you speak to this?
Yes. This is where, oh gosh, there's so many levels to this card. This is where there's a lot of like downward pulling. Oh gosh, let's see how to. Well, we see like all of these spirits in the background that are sort of influencing him, or he's utilizing to manipulate.
Oh, are those puppet strings? I just realized.
Yeah, it's like strings. You know, he's. It's a card of manipulation, deceit. It's like that empty victory. You're manipulating. You're making things happen deceitfully. You get what you want, but there's not that joy in it. So that's like the empty victory. You get what you want through manipulation. Yeah. It also has. I actually, this is a very. It's a difficult card to explain. It's a difficult card to explain. Because it has to do with a lot of darkness and manipulation and a lot of things that happen behind the scenes, things that are hard to look at. How we manipulate to get our way.
Well, the other one that was like, I think I actually gasped when I saw it, but the Ten of Swords.
Yeah.
is again very different from what we're used to seeing. But at the same time, I can see the Ten of Swords as well. It's just very interesting how you can see all the organs are pierced, but she's got this like fake smile on. Carry on.
Yes. Well, the traditional, the rider weight, it shows all the swords piercing the back, and it's like the end of the swords where, you're caught in certain mental patterns that, well, in this card, you weren't able to resolve. And now they're no longer on just the mental level. They're coming to a conclusion. They haven't been resolved, but they're coming to a conclusion by solidifying into the body. Yeah.
Well, it's the whole idea that the mental state can affect the physical state. Like if you're mentally going through stuff, you're going to physically go through stuff as well.
Yes, yes.
So
and it's a way of
piercing your organs, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's like the thought patterns, they're like now in the body, so the mind can be a little free from it. The body's holding it, so the mind can be free. And it's like a way of coping. It gets embedded in the genetics, and maybe later on the person is able to resolve it, or maybe it gets passed down into the future generations, right? Or maybe the person is able to then clear it out physically through, through massage, acupuncture, surgery, even, cleanses.
Right.
But it's like on a physical level now. So it either gets released physically, you can heal it physically, or it gets passed on. Yeah.
And while you were talking, I was thinking, oh yeah, it's like when you suppress the emotions, suddenly you start having liver disease.
Yes. Yes. Or grief, or indigestion
to the lungs. Yeah.
Yes. Heartache is not always, I was going to say heartache, but heartache is not always something from the mental coming down to the physical. It could also be that you're actually opening up.
Right. Well, the reason I went straight for the lungs for grief is because in 5-element acupuncture, that is where grief lives, is in the lungs.
Yes. Yes.
Where like when you're grieving, you just can't catch your breath. Like it's so hard to breathe when you're grieving.
Yeah.
So, but this is amazing. I often actually see the Ten of Swords as a call for someone to get acupuncture.
Absolutely. Yes. A call also for Pan, the Knight of Discs, to help to give the body a voice.
So what was the hardest card for you to paint?
The hardest card?
Yeah. Like, which one was the one that like was the most difficult to get through and actually onto a canvas?
That's interesting. I have to think. I think maybe the World card. That was actually the last card that I painted. It's a very personal card for me. I saw it in my heart. Actually, this is a picture I've had in some form. There's some parts of this picture that have been with me since I was a child. And yeah, so I think this was the hardest one. Not that it was difficult to paint, but it was hard to get myself to paint it because it was such a deep and personal one.
Right.
Yeah, because
would this be the self-portrait in the deck?
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if you see it, but far in the background, there's Krishna. She's going back to her world, to her source, to her loka. And there, her deity is there. So there she gets to become one again with her beloved. And so it's a really beautiful, personal, and such a happy divine card.
Mm-hmm.
That was really, and yeah, to just try and capture all of that belongs to this card was, I didn't know if I could do it, but here we have it. I don't know. Everybody gets what they can from it, but that was a really personal one for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And which one was? Well, I think you said earlier that the one that really got you started and was the easiest to paint was that Ace of Wands. Was that correct?
Yes.
I should organize a little bit. I keep messing everything up every time I look for a card. But here we go.
Yeah.
So this was the card that started the whole thing.
Yeah. It took me a long time to paint that, because at that point I was not a good painter. I just was like trying. And another thing with all of these cards, I never repainted any of them. So whatever mistakes or whatever happened in the card, it's part of the journey. I took it as, okay, now I'm painting the Ace of Wands. It took me a long time to do this one. There were so many washes and but I never said, oh, this is not working and started over again. I just said, okay, this is the Ace of Wands. Whatever happens in the process, whatever mistakes, whatever, that's part of the journey of it. And yeah, so.
Oh, this is I love this comment here. How appropriate, the Ace of Wands is the easiest and sort of the creative process. That is what the Ace of Wands is all about.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Oh, hi, Jamie. Jamie just got here. She says, they are delicious cards. I am super pleased.
Thank you so much. That's so nice to hear. I like delicious because there's so much experience in that.
Yeah, many of the people here have actually were backers in the Kickstarter. So
it's so exciting.
And you have other copies for sale still, yes?
Oh yeah, I do. You can, on my website, you can order them there. Lovelyom.com.
I think I put the link in the description. I can't remember if I did or not. If I did not, I will once this uploads. So.
Thank you. Yeah.
Of course. Oh, and Liz wants to remind us that Darshanie you have your own YouTube channel and you've been doing lives on Tuesdays with spreads and readings using your own deck. So that's,
yes.
I caught a couple of them. That's a good reminder. I need to go back and watch some more of them.
Yeah. I just started doing that and I think it's really nice because it shows you like how you can use the deck and how to read the cards because it does have like a different spin. It does carry... Yeah, it does carry the structure and the energy of the Rider-Waite and the Thoth deck, but it includes the gods and the chakras, and it pays special emphasis on those things.
Sadhna says that she's been working with this deck ever since she received it. It's powerful. Thank you.
Oh, Sadhna, that's so beautiful. I'm really, really happy.
I'm glad you can make it, Sadhna.
Yeah. So nice to see you. It's such an amazing experience to feel this deck received by others, and it just makes me so happy.
Of course,
I think it's so amazing.
Well, and you did a wonderful job. I mean, the packaging is amazing. The cards, for those of you who don't have it, like this, the back, it's a gorgeous back. And the cardstock is very flexible but strong. I have no issues with the cardstock. It's really easy to riffle shuffle if you're a riffle shuffler.
Yeah, it's a very high quality black core. I think it's like 330 MSG or something like that, or GSM.
Right. So it's not super thick, but it's strong.
Yes.
Which I like. That's actually my favorite kind of.
Yeah, I like that too. It's not like they're bigger, but because they're thin and flexible, they're not bulky.
Right. Well, and I like the fact that they're a little bigger because then you can actually see the pool.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have any other things in the works? Any other decks or projects?
Well, right now, I'm just like so happy that this deck got out. Lovely Omit. I was working on it for like 10 years, and I'm just happy that that's out right now. And I'm doing my YouTube channel with readings every week, and I have a dream workshop coming up in January.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I think really appropriate for this time of year because the energy of the earth is so strong, and in dream time we can enter the earth's mind and process so much with her help if we kind of know how to get there. So I want to focus on that because I think we can grow spiritually so much by knowing how to enter Earth's mind and have her help us process. And we also have access to our spiritual bodies very easily. It's a natural time to go there. So yeah, I want to sort of bring that awareness in the dream workshop.
So Sadhana says she wanted to let you know that she was initiated by Swami Satsangi at I'm gonna mangle that. The teachings of Savadana are very familiar.
Shivananda, that's so beautiful. Yeah. So we both have the same Satguru. Because I grew up in the Shivananda ashrams by Swami Vishnudevananda. So how beautiful sadhana.
And then she trimmed her deck on 3 sides and they look great.
Yes. I'm glad. Nice. Yeah. It's good. You make it the way you make it.
It makes it yours when you do that.
Yes. As long as you still use them, that's all that matters.
I can shuffle it, and that's what I care about with hand disabilities, says Jeannie. Yes. I've heard her complain about certain decks that she will never use because she can't shuffle them.
Oh, so do you mean like you had to trim it in order to shuffle it?
Well, I don't think Jamie trimmed hers. But and she says that her favorite sun card is in this deck. Pull out the deck again. Let's look at that real quick. And then Andy says, Darshanie also teaches wonderful courses about the lovely Om.
Thank you.
Reading work is coming up in January.
Ooh. Yes. Yeah.
The sun. Actually, the sun was one of the ones I had pulled out originally, but I pulled out way too many cards to talk about.
Well, I'm so glad you like them. It's so great when you find a lot of cards that make you curious and you feel like diving into. I take that as a huge compliment.
I see why she loves it too. I love that you have the 4 seasons as part of it. Because the sun touches us in all 4 seasons.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think of that, but I can see it as you say it. What I have there are like the 7 rays, the 7 colors.
Right. The 7 chakras.
The sun brings out the color and wakes up all the seeds. And there you see the earth. Her eyes are closed. She's dreaming. She's sleeping. And the earth wakes her up, brings all her seeds to life. And hidden in the card is an Om. Let's see if I can find the card. I can show it to you easier. Yeah, there's an Om.
Good look in person.
Yeah, let's see. Om. There are a few cards with Oms hidden. So the sleeping Om, dreaming Om. Sleeping Earth, dreaming Earth. Let's see what we have here. Anyhow, let me just say there's a hidden Om.
I think it's actually in the sun itself.
Oh.
Except the camera's not quite picking it up.
Huh. Oh.
That's where I see it anyway.
Oh, cool. Is it me not to say it?
No.
It's on the earth.
for people to find, right?
Yeah, a little like treasure hunt.
I suppose it could also be in the pool too. I can see it in the pool as well. Of course, now I'm seeing ohms everywhere.
That's
But
even
I
better.
originally saw it right there in the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I love this card. I tell you, this card gave me so much joy to paint, like to get the bright yellows and then to have the blues inside. This was such a great card to paint.
Oh, and Sadhana says she will be using your deck in a course that she's teaching in January as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's awesome. That makes me so.
Jamie also sees it in the sun. Sadhana
Oh,
sees it on the earth.
yes.
Yeah, and Jamie can also see it. Yes, the hidden ohms. I love it.
The hidden ohms. That sounds
That was
like a
actually
nice
the
tarot
first
deck.
mantra I learned was Om Mani Padme Om.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
What did you say?
The first mantra I ever learned when I was like 12 was Om Mani Padme Om.
Oh, how nice.
Mhm.
That's beautiful. Mm.
That was when I was a kid at Mount Madonna, which is like kind of like an ashram, but it's here in the United States. And yeah, that was
That's
an
so
amazing experience.
amazing. That's so amazing that you have this ashram connection and that
Mhm.
sadhana has this ashram connection. I think that's so special. I mean, it's such a different facet of life.
Right.
It's so amazing. Wow.
It's definitely, if you haven't experienced it, it's hard to even put into words.
You can't.
Mhm.
You just can't. But anyhow, it's beautiful to share. I think it's such a beautiful. I mean, I just enjoyed my ashram time so much. It was like I think of it as like the golden period in my life, and I draw so much like strength and groundedness from that period in my life. Yeah. I mean, I know everybody has a different experience with it, but I had such a positive one.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, everyone has their own experience, no matter what it is. So
That's so yeah. Yeah. And it's all good too, because it all brings up something and we all have to go through it.
right. Yeah.
I had that as a positive experience, but I had many other things that were so difficult and I needed to have that in order to move through it.
Right.
So it all has
It's all
its
about the balance.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to thank you, Darshanie. This has been amazing. And thank you for the insights you've given us into your deck. For those of you in the audience, the chat, next week I have Carrie Paris, the creator of the Relative Tarot, coming to join us and talking about the deck here. So I look forward to that. I really wish I had backed that Kickstarter. I didn't, and I had a chance to like get the Kickstarter version, and I didn't, and I'm stuck kicking myself. So I look forward to chatting with her about that deck as well. Sadhana says that she has a poem that she can share called Ashram sometime. I would love that, Sadhana. That would be amazing.
It's such a unique experience, and it's amazing that we all three have it.
Thank you again. If you just want to wait one moment. Thank you, everyone in chat. I will see you next week if I don't see you sooner.
Thank you so much.
Don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe, the bell if you want to see more of these kind of videos. And I look forward to chatting with you next week. And thank you again, Darshanie. This has been amazing. Thank you, everyone.
Jonathan.
Aloha and ahui ho.